What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here, PackersNews.com. I'm here with Michael Cohen of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Michael, Clay Matthews with a bit of an eye-opening quote there when you asked him about the lack of help when it comes to rushing the passer. Uh, Walk us through this. I mean, did he just flat out throw his GM under the bus?
He certainly wasn't giving much of an endorsement for the GM, that's for sure. Now, basically, at practice on Tuesday, it was pretty apparent that there's no depth at pass rusher because with Clay Matthews and Nick Perry being held out with minor precautionary injury situations, you were looking at a first team rush group of Kyler Fackrell and Vince Beagle. And so it was just like, wow, this really is what the Packers would have if Matthews and Perry were both hurt simultaneously during the regular season. So in the locker room after practice, I asked Clay, I said, were you surprised that all of March, meaning free agency, and then the first 6 rounds of the draft went by without really addressing pass rush at all? And he offered up this answer that basically said, well, I'm glad we picked the corners because we needed help behind us. But if you look at the depth we have at pass rusher, it's not that great. And that was his quote, not that great. And so basically what that says to me is that Matthews is willing to admit now that there were major issues on this defense, and drafting corners addressed one of them, but the other big one was nobody to help Matthews and Perry, and that still remains either a work in progress or something that just is not going to be done before next season.
Now, it's interesting. You look back just last August. He was asked almost the same question, and he had a similar response saying it's going to be on myself and Nick to get to the quarterback. Could you maybe sense a little frustration on his part? The fact that there have been no reinforcements and they are counting on development from within yet again?
I think so. I think that for a guy like Matthews that knows his days of being able to line up over the left tackle and rush 40 times a game are probably over. He can certainly still be effective, but at 32 years old, he's not going to be the same kind of explosive, dynamic guy that he was, fresh out of USC. And so I think that as he moves around the defense more and he has fewer opportunities to really rush the passer from a pure pass rush standpoint, I think he would just like to see somebody be able to chip in with 6, 7 sacks a year. Nothing crazy. It doesn't have to be somebody that comes in and goes Michael Strahan and gets 20 plus. It's just somebody that can give them some sort of tangible boost if he or Nick Perry is injured. And I think that if Ahmad Brooks had been healthy and didn't have the back problem, that he probably could have given them maybe 5, 6 sacks last year because Brooks does play with a lot of aggression. We just weren't able to see a ton of it last year. But at the end of the day, I think that Matthews is a smart guy, and he realizes that his injury history and Perry's injury history is not very fortuitous in terms of what it forecasts out to be for the Packers, and they just need something, anything, and they're just not getting it besides unproven rookies.
So we'll see what the future has in store for rushing the quarterback for Green Bay. All the latest from Lambeau. For Michael, I'm Aaron. We'll talk to you soon.